The polls in Texas officially closed, tallying those votes and looking at the results for Texas races from Taylor County Judge to the highly contested and even closer race for the Republican nomination of Texas Attorney General. Also confirming the two names you'll see on the November ballot running for Texas governor. KTAB News at 10 starts right now.
Now, live from your local election headquarters, this is a special edition of KTAB News at 10.
Good evening to you. I'm Joni McKinnon. Bob Bartlett is away tonight. Before we get to election results, first we get to breaking news tonight. A fatal crash on Abilene's east side. The person involved died at the scene. Their identity not yet being released. That crash happening about 7 p.m. just off Loop 322 and Highway 80. Police telling us a pickup truck headed eastbound crashing into that overpass pillar. That investigation is ongoing. Another developing story, another big scene as a train and bicycle colliding on Abilene's west side tonight. The person involved in that crash on the bicycle being treated at a local hospital with lower extremity injuries. That crash happening around 6:45 near the train intersection at South 1st and Santos Street. An investigation is also going on in this crash. Now getting to your local election headquarters tonight, we begin with the primary races to be the next governor of Texas. And first, we're going to the Republicans. This was an 8-person race, but one that sees incumbent Governor Greg Abbott handily winning that vote. Abbott winning 68%, and coming in second place is actually Allen West with 12%. Don Huffines close behind with just 11%. So who will Governor Abbott be facing in the general election? Well, it looks like it will be former Congressman Beto O'Rourke. O'Rourke winning that nomination, 92% of the votes, and coming in second is Joy Diaz with only 3%. The race for Texas governor, one that has dominated headlines for months with results now in. The Associated Press calling the Republican primary for incumbent Governor Greg Abbott, and the Democratic nomination goes to former Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Both are now moving forward to the November election, and tonight we want to get reaction from both candidates, beginning from Corpus Christi, where Governor Abbott is hosting his victory party. KTAB Boston Bureau correspondent Monica Madden begins your team coverage from your local election headquarters.
The energy is high tonight for supporters of Governor Greg Abbott as he is one step closer to becoming Texas's top leader for a third term. Now, neither of the wins for the Democratic and Republican primary in the governor's race are surprising. Recent polling had shown former Congressman Beto O'Rourke as the clear front runner amongst Democrats, and as well as Governor Greg Abbott as the clear front runner for Republicans. Now, notably, the incumbent Governor Abbott did face some challenges within the Republican field. Conservatives Allen West and Don Huffines were some of his strongest, most vocal opponents who often criticized the governor for not being conservative enough. Now, so far, Don Huffines has conceded. We are still waiting to hear from Allen West officially. But nonetheless, both Abbott and O'Rourke have been treating this as a two-man race for months now, acting as if it was already, gearing up towards the November midterm elections. Take a listen to what O'Rourke had to say from Tarrant County tonight.
This group of people, and then some, in 2018 made me the first Democrat to win Tarrant County since 1994. And this group of people, and then some, are going to make me the first Democrat to be governor of the state of Texas since 1994.
Now again, we're here in Corpus Christi, still waiting to hear from the governor. He's expected to make his remarks around 10 p.m. He hasn't specifically said why he chose Corpus Christi as the backdrop, but analysts we spoke with say that it has to likely do with Republicans' goal of taking South Texas, a typically Democratic area, and making it red for Republicans. Same thing with Beto O'Rourke and Tarrant County, a traditionally red county that he's hoping to flip blue in November. In Corpus Christi, Monica Madden, back to you.
Monica, thank you. Now checking in on the latest numbers from the race of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick winning the Republican primary to move forward to the November general election. Patrick taking 75% of the vote. And over in the Democratic side of the race for Lieutenant Governor, well, it looks like Mike Collier is leading the way with 44%, but that's not enough to seal the Democratic confirmation. Now to another highly contentious race in the Lone Star State, Attorney General. So this race putting incumbent Ken Paxton in the hot seat, and it was a crowded race on both sides. Let's start with the Republicans. While Paxton faced 3 Republican challengers, he currently leads the pack with 42%. And George P. Bush coming in second with just 22%. That puts Paxton at a risk of a runoff. On the Democratic ticket, similar results. Rochelle Garza, she is still leading with 42% over Joe Jaworski, who has 21%. KTAB's Maggie Glenn is in Austin with reaction from the candidates, and she continues tonight's team coverage from a watch party for one of the challengers with your local election headquarters.
I'm here in East Austin right now at the campaign watch party for George P. Bush. He came out earlier and said he's still in high spirits, that he believes he's going to be the one to push this into a runoff. We're hearing the same thing from Eva Guzman. We have yet to hear from Louis Gohmert, but all three of them say that the legal troubles Ken Paxton is facing are reason enough for them to jump into the race. We heard from Bush earlier this evening say that he would consider it a victory in its own if he were to be the one to push it into the runoff.
Get in the runoff. Once you get in the runoff, that allows 90 days of extra innings to go out and prove yourself to conservative Republicans. There's probably about 3.4 million eligible Republican voters.
Results, of course, are still pouring in. We won't have an official answer until later this evening. Reporting in Austin, Maggie Glenn, back to you.
Maggie, thank you. Now to the race for land commissioner on the GOP side. Dr. Dawn Buckingham, before redistricting, representing Abilene in the Texas State Senate, currently with 43% of the Republican votes. So this race will go to a runoff on that election. And for the Democrats, Sandra Martinez and Jay Kleberg. Yeah, both of those, they're leading and they're neck and neck, but with 31 and 27% respectively for the Democratic runoff. Switching to the race for Texas Ag Commissioner, incumbent Sid Miller, well, yes, easily moving forward in this race with 59% of the votes. And on the Democratic side, it will be Susan Hayes who takes this race. Susan Hayes coming in with 83% of the votes. Now this race will move on to the November general election. Coming closer back to home, we're going to the race now for Taylor County Judge. So the county judge presides over the Commissioner's Court as well as misdemeanor criminal and civil cases. The county judge also responsible for the county government functions. So this is the position replacing longtime county judge Downing Bowles. Bowles retiring from his position at the end of this term. He was first elected to the position in 2010. So let's go to the boards now. Taylor County Assistant District Attorney Phil Crowley winning this race handily with 83% of the votes. His opponent, Scott Leibowitz, an Air Force veteran, coming in with just 17%. This position only being battled on the GOP side, so therefore the Crowley will essentially be carrying through the November general election race. He says he is excited to start as the next county judge, and our Mercedes Hernandez is at his watch party tonight with his early remarks on his opponent.
Good evening. The feeling here at Lytle Land and Cattle Company is one of victory. The party going on behind me inside of the patio, especially after those early results started to come in. You definitely got some hoops and hollers. Here's what Phil Crowley had to say going into today's big night.
So I was actually out campaigning till 7 p.m. Tonight. I was at Zion Lutheran waving a sign. You know, we'll just see how it turns out. You know, I'm thankful for him running, and I'm thankful for the people who went out and voted for him for participating in the process. But we'll just see how it ends up tonight.
A few notes about Crowley. He was born here in Abilene on Dyess Air Force Base as a graduate of Abilene ISD and Hardin-Simmons University. Now he will go on to start serving as judge in 2023 once current judge Downing Bowles finishes his term at the end of 2022. That'll do it for me here at the watch party. I'm Mercedes Hernandez. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Mercedes. Now coming in second tonight was Scott Leibowitz. He's a retired Air Force veteran who actually lives in Clyde. KTAB's Noah McKinney was there with Leibowitz. They were at the 201 Mesquite Center as those votes came in tonight. Noah?
Yes, thank you. I spoke with Mr. Leibowitz just a few moments ago. He says his first outing into politics has taught him quite a bit. And though he's not coming away with a win tonight, he says the world will keep spinning tomorrow.
You know, nobody wants to put in this kind of effort and come in second. But like I said, you know, there's got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser, and as long as the final outcome is what's best for the citizens of Taylor County, that's all I'm concerned with.
Leibowitz says he and Crowley plan to have a sit-down lunch in the next few days so they can get together and unpack the race as a sign of goodwill. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Noah McKinney, KTAB News.
Thank you, Noah. Another race right here at home, the race for Texas State House of Representatives, District 71. So this is the seat that is held currently by Stan Lambert, and it covers much of the big country, including Abilene. Lambert currently in his 4th term, so let's go to the boards now. Lambert facing 27-year-old Army veteran Samuel Weatherby of Abilene. Lambert taking this race with 76% of the vote. Weatherby coming in with just 24. We spoke with Lambert tonight, who says that he is looking forward to that November election.
I'm very honored and humbled to have the endorsement of my friends and neighbors and look forward to the general election in November, where I'll seek to try to continue to represent House District 71.
Lambert will now face Democratic candidate Linda Goolsby in the November general election. Goolsby ran unopposed. Several other races happening across the big country in Heartland. First, the race for Brown County Judge. This was a 4-person race. Shane Britton leading that pack with 37% of the vote over incumbent Paul Lilly, who has just 27%. And so that will currently be slated for a runoff election. Now down in Nolan County for the judge, the position, Whitley May winning that nomination with 73% of those votes. And for Eastland County Judge, well, David Hullum is winning currently with 64%. Moving over to Eastland County for the position of Sheriff, Jason Weger winning with 71% of the votes for the nomination of that position. And for the Shackelford County Judge position, that's John Viertel, who has 58% of the votes. Moving over to the west side of the big country, Mitchell County for the position of Judge, Mike Redwine. He's leading that for a 6-candidate race. He's got currently 37%, so that will essentially lead to a runoff election. And Callahan County for the position of Judge, Nikki Harrell is winning with 53%. Up in Fisher County for Judge, Ken Holt winning resoundingly with 68%. And in Knox County, Judge Stan Wojcik, well, he currently has 70% of those votes, likely to be the ultimate winner. And we're also tracking the latest numbers from all of these races and more currently on our website. You can find the current data on that site, bigcountryhomepage.com. Now coming up on KTAB News at 10, political expert and professor at McMurray University, Dr. Paul Fabrizio, joining us live in studio with some insight into the Texas election results tonight. And Sam giving us some insight into the March weather, starting our first day of the month.
Early returns are in your Weather Authority Center, and 80% of big country residents approved of the weather today.
I was one of them. I voted for the weather. Yes.
And you're going to really love the next couple of days, but then the West Texas winds return on Friday. We'll break it down for you when we come back.
With coverage you can count on, Bob Bartlett, Joni McKinnon, and Chief Meteorologist Sam Nichols. This is KTAB News at 10.